Hello, everyone. So excited to have everyone here today. We're just waiting for Tommy, our guest, to join. If you are tuning in, please let me know if you can hear me. And we'll get started. Hello. If you're tuning in, please let us know if you can hear me. And we'll start in just 1 minute. Hello, everyone. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll start in just 1 minute. Hi, Els. How are you? Oh, are you here? Okay, perfect. It was giving me like a little error. How are you, Tommy?
I'm good. How you doing, Justina?
Good. Kind of enjoying this hot weather outside, but kind of not. So we'll see. We'll
Summer's
see how it goes. Yeah, but finally no snowstorms, so that's good. Yes. So thank you everyone for joining. Let us know if you have any questions while we're chatting. Feel free to to hop in with any questions and let us know if you have any. But yeah, Tommy, thank you so much for being here. Super excited to have you on. Tommy is the owner and the founder of Fine and Rare and the Flatiron Room, which are some of my favorite restaurants. And I'm not taking all the credit, but I kind of do send a lot of people your way. So
You're the one.
yeah, that's me. It's all me. I'm taking all the credit. So just to kick this off, like, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? How you started, where you come from, like the beginnings of it all.
Yeah. Great. So I'm from a small town in Maine. My parents retired when I was relatively young in California, and they wanted to move. I have three brothers, three older brothers. They wanted to move us to like some country, and we moved up to Maine. Ended up going to Maine. I went to Orono, and from there I moved to Hawaii because the winters were too cold. Stayed there for a while, but my you know, in business, it was really about advertising. That was my creative field. That was what I studied in school. So I worked my way to Madison Avenue, and I worked at some of the large agencies like Young and Rubicam and Draft Worldwide. And I stuck with that profession. I was a creative director. I loved it. And at some point, I had an itch to do something on my own. I think I had this kind of hibernated entrepreneurial bug. Um,
Mhm.
I took it and I said, I think I want to open up my own spot. And I did. I just kind of, threw caution to the wind. I opened up a place down in the West Village of Manhattan, had a 5-year lease. Uh, and I invented the wheel like a million times because I had no idea what I was doing. But I had a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it enough that I decided I want to stay in it. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're always trying to better yourself, and you're always trying to, you know, keep pushing yourself to do better. I figured after my first place that if I had a chance to do it again, I could do it better. Uh,
Mhm.
so I opened up another place, and I think it was Danny Meyer or James Beard or something that said, people keep opening up new places because they think the next time you're going to get it right.
Mhm.
Right? I think you have a higher goal, and that's kind of what I did. So I opened up the Flatiron Room, which is one of the places you send people. Um, 10 years ago. And that was a lot of fun. It really was the first spot that I designed kind of for myself. I kind of put myself as the demographic, and I designed a place that I'd want to hang out at.
Mhm.
So that was 10 years ago, nine and a half years ago. And then 4.5 years ago, um, the Flatiron Room was doing well, and then about 4.5 years ago, I opened up Fine and Rare, which is where I'm at right now. And fine and rare is a lot like the Flatiron room. It's a bit more fine dining. And again, it was like, this was me trying to, improve, make a better mousetrap. We had a lot of success with the Flatiron room, and I was like, well, if I could do it again, what would I do different? What would I improve on? And kind of Flatiron room, fine and rare is that. It's my, it's like Flatiron room 2.0.
That's
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you said that, because I was talking a lot with Rahana, my business partner, about, like we told you recently, we were launching the app. And, a lot of people say that it's, the business doesn't have to be perfect for you to launch. And that's always just like the advice, just it doesn't have to be perfect. But for example, like, I know from you that you put a lot of thought and effort into like the design and the looks of it. So the product is as perfect as possible. And then the rest of the things cannot be perfect. Like, what is your stance on that? Because I've been really pushing like the design a lot and the looks of it. And I'm like, if the code is not good and the user experience is not there yet. So what do you think is the most important while launching the business? Like, how do you balance it?
And I think what you said is that the balance. I mean, there's certain things in a restaurant, certain people are going to pick up on certain things, but I think it's important that you have to set a deadline. And if you're an entrepreneur, generally, I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to be perfectionists, or they tend to be, hyper focused on making it, following exactly what their vision was. But the reality is, sometimes you just have to say, okay, we're going to launch on this date, and that's it. And in every place that I opened, I backed myself into a date that we had to be open, which I think is super important. Like we like for Fine and Rare, the most recent one, I had someone inquired about throwing a big party with us, and I said, I said absolutely, we'll do it, and they said ready, absolutely we're going to be ready, and that's what we needed. I think that's just what the entire team needed. We needed a date that we could work towards and finish, because when you open up a place, when you launch a business, I think the 2 weeks pre-opening are always going to be the same, regardless of it being 2 years out or 2 months out. Those 2 weeks before you open, it's just Murphy's Law, and it's human nature. Things always always wait till the last minute. And the last 2 weeks are always going to be incredibly stressful, no matter how far of a deadline out you have. So it's important to set that deadline. Choose your compromises, choose your battles wisely. Not always going to be finished. I mean, I haven't opened up a restaurant where the paint wasn't still drying when customers came through the door.
Yeah.
I would say I'm somewhat experienced. It's just certain things are just happen that way. To answer your question, Justina, you balance it. I mean, design is super important, but that's only half your product. Your hospitality, your customer service, your staff training is also, equally important. So I think you just got to balance it all, Yeah.
And be okay with, like, if something goes wrong, like it just goes wrong, you fix it, you move on, you do better tomorrow.
Things will go wrong. Things will go wrong. Yeah,
exactly.
They will.
Exactly.
The speakers will break, and if they break, they're going to be on a Friday night when someone's giving a presentation, and the AC will break, and it's usually on the hottest day of the summer,
Yeah. I mean, we've worked together, so I've been there. I know. There is no band. You have to go out there and sing,
Yeah.
and entertain people. Exactly. So that brings me to my next question. When you're running a restaurant, there's so many things you have to do, like you mentioned. You have to train the staff. You have to make sure that the inventory is there. You have to make sure the website is running, the speakers are working. You're hiring, you're firing, you're growing. You're, making sure that the ship is sailing normally, like everything's good. So what do you think is like your favorite part about running a restaurant, and what do you think is like your biggest challenge? And if you never had to do it ever again, you wouldn't?
I like building. I like creating. I think the fun part is the process of concepting a restaurant, and then building it out, and then making it profitable. I think that's super exciting, being able to kind of envision it, put it on paper, watch it being built, and then see the first customer come in. And one of the things that I love about this business is the immediacy of it. I mean, when I worked in advertising, it would, we'd run these campaigns and then we'd do our data research. And then like 3 months later, we'd start getting some feedback. And, with a restaurant, you could run a special. The chef can run a special. It can go out that night and we can get feedback like right then and there, which is beautiful. I love that. What I hate is drama and, the human resources part of it. I don't like, if I'm being totally candid with everybody, I don't, having people come to me and complain about other people. I mean, I listen to it, but it's just something I'm like, I wish we had if there's one thing I miss with the big company is, being able to say, talk to human resources. Just
so
not
one day when you open the next restaurant, you have to hire a human resource person.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So for the people who are listening, that I want to go back a little bit. So for the people who are listening who don't have a business, but maybe they have a career, you made that jump from advertising to opening a restaurant in New York City, which is totally crazy because it's probably the most saturated place on earth for restaurants. So how did you make that jump? What was the breaking point that you were okay, I'm done with advertising, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to open a restaurant? What made you decide that? Did you dream about doing that for years, or was it just one day you're whatever, I'm going?
More to the latter than the former. I think, and I don't want to speak for all entrepreneurs, but I think being an entrepreneur, it's generally not a rational thing. I mean, I had a good job with human resources and with department, and just being able to, in 401k, and being able to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to, I think you need a couple screws loose to do that.
Hello.
So, but it's like risk and reward, and you only live once, and what's the worst that can really happen, right? You kind of do the walk of shame back to your job. But I thought it was fun, and the one thing I do caution people is once you do take that step into being an entrepreneur and being your own boss, it's extremely, extremely hard to backtrack. I mean, you can if you have to, but I don't know if I could work for somebody else again. I think once you are your own boss, it's difficult to to go back to that more traditional 9-to-5 role. So
I feel like you're reading my mind, because that was my the question that popped into my head. Would you ever go back to a corporate job, or no?
Maybe I'd work at Home Depot when I get older.
Oh yeah, that's your secret passion. Not so secret, but
no, I like the idea of being at Home Depot, wearing an apron and having people come in with their problems, and me just I could see myself old and gray working at a Home Depot. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. See, you're my brother, because we're so opposite. I'm more, me, I'm more oh my God, fabulous, let me put on a dress. And you're just yeah, just give me a saw, and I'll make a table in the middle of the forest, and I'll go for a walk, and I'm good.
Simple. Seems like a simple, no drama job.
Exactly. So, you are passionate about what you do, but how do you kind of balance the, I have to make my business profitable versus let me just have fun along the way?
I think.
How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you can have clean fun along the way. You have a better chance of making your business profitable. I think if you're passionate about something, you really enjoy it, you're going to want to put more time into it, and your business, and I think that's going to give you a better chance of success. But one thing I always a rule that I always live by is, and you probably heard me say this before, but is to work on your business and not in your business, and that's been really key for me. And I think the success of our places is working on the business and not stressing about whether or not a barback's going to come in on time, or have we got a host for the night, or is I try to focus on the bigger picture, and how to grow our brand, how to make our operations more seamless, how to offer a better experience, and not such the nitty gritty details of the day-to-day operations. So and I enjoy that, and I have fun with it, and I think that's that works for me. So work on your business, not in your business.
That's very important, and I feel like a lot of people forget, because I see a lot of entrepreneurs who are literally just like hustling there in the weeds versus just like stepping back and saying, you know what, I'm the founder of this company. Let me figure out how to hire more people to help me,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, work on my vision and not stress, exactly
Grow,
like you said.
grow the brand. I think that's super important. I mean, if you have like, shutters on, you can't see the big picture. But if you really want to grow your brand, you got to think bigger, and you got to think of, how you can maximize what you have and how you can leverage your resources and, and grow with economy of scale. So
Yeah. Exactly. No, I love what you said then, and I agree with it, because like like when I started my first business, I was kind of like the person to like, I am the business, like, I have to get all the clients. It's me, it's me, it's me. But at the end of the day, like, that didn't work. There's only so much time you have as a person.
yeah,
So people succeed by building teams. Like that's your
yeah,
job basically.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So my next question for you is, who is one person that impacted you the most in your life, and like what was their lesson for you?
Mm, I
Tommy's like, I impacted myself.
not at all. Not at all. I have two kids that I know they really they I think they probably have the most impact. They keep it real for me. And I know you know this as well. But before I opened up Flatiron Room, I owned a couple nightclubs, and the nightclubs were crazy, and it was this world to live in, and and it's a very flashy kind of industry. And I remember going home and just seeing my kids, and they kept it real for me. And to be honest, they're the ones that had me. I moved out of nightclubs and into the restaurant and building the Flatiron Room because of them. I mean, I really wanted a place I enjoyed going, and a place that I felt, was right for me and in where I was in my life. I still wanted to stay in hospitality, but I knew I didn't want to be in the nightclub industry anymore. And see my little kids, and I remember sometimes in the club industry, I'd come home and they'd just be getting up, and it would be like, this has got to change.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, of course. And I remember they were so tiny. They were like, I remember them once cleaning the menus at the Flatiron Room, and now they're like driving cars and stuff. Like, so, time passes by. So it again comes back to balance. You
Yeah,
can't just, throw yourself fully into the business. And, sometimes you have to, but, you can't always. You have family, you have friends, you have
yeah,
a life, which I also need that reminder sometimes. Like, Justina, like, you don't have to work today. Like, go to dinner. Like, it's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
family, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. So my last question is for you, and then we have like these fun, like, like how do you call it? I can't speak English. Rapid fire questions. Exactly. ESL. That's always my card. I'm ESL. I don't know. So my last question before the rapid fire questions is, already said that you would love to work at Home Depot, but like, what is the dream after finance? Like, what is the dream between that? Like.
Oh, relatively young man. So I wanna.
It's not Home Depot yet.
Not Home Depot.
It's not
Home
yet.
Depot is my retirement job. Home
Yeah.
Depot is my job that I take to keep me busy, and keep me out of the rocking chair. I want to grow my empire. I think now with I know a lot of people unfortunately got hit hard with pandemic, and and it certainly struck a big blow with hospitality. But I think, to be honest, now is I think both of my brands are they couldn't be more relevant than they are right now. I mean, now is the time that people want to go out. They want to get back and socialize, and they want to experience pre-COVID. And so I want to grow. And I'm working on some projects now, and I hope to grow our brand to other locations, and just keep doing what I enjoy doing. And then Home Depot.
And then Home Depot. So first World Takeover, and then Home Depot.
Yeah. So
I have a feeling you'll get that job. You haven't had a boss in a while, but I have a feeling you're good.
if Home Depot fires me, I go to Lowe's.
We'll see. We'll see. No, I see a bright future for you. Especially in Home Depot. It's gonna be great. So our rapid fire question is: what is your favorite vacation spot?
Hawaii.
Hawaii? Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to.
I have a soft spot. I used to live there. It's familiar to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So next question you probably know, what was your childhood dream? Work at Home Depot?
No.
No.
No, you know what? To be honest, I was kind of a dork with my career, and at a very young age, I wanted to work in Madison Avenue in Manhattan. So that was my dream. I really wanted to work at an ad agency in Avenue.
Yeah. That's so cool. And I feel like a lot of people, like there are people who are like the suburban people and they're happy in the suburbs. But I was also like raised in like a small town. And I remember reading a book about Gabrielle Chanel and I was like, wow, she's so badass. She was in Paris. She had her own brand. She like revolutionized an industry. I'm like, I'm going to like Paris or New York. Forget about it. So
Yeah.
even though when I was little, I was like, yep, I'm going to be in that big city. Let's go. So
Yeah.
you kind of know as a kid like where you want to go. It's
Yeah.
so interesting. Yeah.
It's embedded when you're, the seed is planted early.
Yeah, exactly. What is your favorite book?
I'm a huge Jules Verne fan. Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I love Jules Verne.
Cool. That's good. And then I have to ask, what is your current favorite whiskey? What are you drinking these days? But you don't have to pick one. You can do like two.
But to be honest, a good dear friend of mine, Heather Green, who you know,
of course,
started her own whiskey brand called Milam and Green out in Texas, and they produce a rye that's finished in a port cask, and it's beautiful. So for me, rye and bourbon, I tend to drink those more in the summer. So I think right now my flavor of the moment is the Milam and Green rye that's been finished in port. So.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Yes, I have to check it out. I've seen Heather posting a lot about it, so that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Shout out to Heather. So that's it. I don't have any more questions for you. Thank you so much for joining us. How can we support you? Where can we find you?
Come visit me. Come visit me at your local Home Depot.
50 years from now.
20 years from now. Right now, come to visit me at Flatiron Room or Fine and Rare in New York City.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to tag like everyone, you and both of the restaurants in the post. So thank you so much everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Tommy. Have a good long weekend. You're probably doing some like woodwork in some mountains. Did I guess right?
All right. I'll see you later, Jeff.
Bye, Tommy. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.